What if there is no oxygen on the Earth? Do you know, the most prevalent element of the Earth's crust is running out? Or, is this possible, the most capable electron acceptor on our planet, will be no longer with us to save the Earth? Well, take a deep breath for now, as we are talking about oxygen, which is the main catalyst for intracellular energy to sustain life. But, can we live without oxygen? What would Earth be like with zero oxygen levels? Today, we are going to show you what would happen to the atmosphere without oxygen. So, don't skip the video, and please hit the subscribe button to stay tuned with our channel. Let's get started. Oxygen is not the most abundant gas in our atmosphere, it is the most important, not just for humans, but for plants and other living beings as well. The oxygen we breathe to live, roughly makes up 21% of our atmosphere, with nitrogen and 1% carbon dioxide and other gases. But, without oxygen, our Earth would be a lot like Venus. Oxygen is abundant in our neighborhood, because of the solar system, and it's being found, making up the majority of the carbon dioxide, in Venus's atmosphere. It also combined with the iron on Mars to form rust, and giving Mars its characteristic red color. As Earth has plenty of carbon to combine with, so we would expect the level of carbon dioxide can elevate in our atmosphere and oceans. But the oceans will be able to absorb a lot of carbon dioxide, so we would not end up with the extreme greenhouse effect that exists in Venus. Again, we know that oxygen was toxic to life on Earth for hundreds of millions of years. Over time, life on Earth evolved to be able to cope with, and eventually to depend on oxygen. However, there are still many organisms on Earth that can live without oxygen for indefinite periods, and some are called obligate anaerobes, for which oxygen is toxic, and they can only live in oxygen-free environments, because they do not possess defense mechanisms to protect enzymes from oxidants. But, they eventually evolved to find the process of photosynthesis. For them, it was just a way of storing energy. They needed a lot of carbon for this to work, which they got from the carbon in carbon dioxide. For them, free oxygen was just a byproduct, but it eventually built up to the point where the majority of the planet went from an anaerobic environment to an aerobic environment. So, if the question is, could life on Earth continue if all oxygen were removed, the answer is definitely yes. However, if the question is, can humans evolve to live without oxygen, the answer is definitely no. Because we use oxygen as part of an extremely complicated series of biochemical reactions that convert glucose, amino acids, or fatty acids into energy storage, which is called aerobic respiration. Though, most of our cells can also respire anaerobically, but the reaction is much less efficient. Because, the larger and more complex an organism, the more energy it needs to maintain its processes, and there are no entirely anaerobic vertebrates for this reason. Even if we could somehow supply enough energy without oxygen, we wouldn't have evolved lungs, and probably not a voice either, so we wouldn't look much like we do now. So viewers, we hope you enjoyed today's video on what would happen to the Earth and human life without oxygen. Please subscribe, like, share, and be always with us for the next video.